name a time zone that most of you all actually live in instead of my own. But however you want to slice it, that was over 4 hours ago. They have torn through this tournament to get back and prove that they belong here, and they are 3 games away from one of the longest losers runs I've ever seen. Can they pull it together? Brand switching back to the S-Blast. It's clearly a Mako Mark pit, and look at this. It's Goss now, not even on Inkblot tower control, Rissa, on the splatter shot.
Yeah, this is really interesting. We haven't seen Goss, at least when Nine and I have been watching, seeing Goss playing the splatter shot for a zones game yet. It's always been the splash-o-matic with the crab. So very interested actually what their thought process is and how that's going to play out. And we'll get to see that here, I'm sure. As Goss does have a Zuka ready, they have to be really careful though. Milky Way is doing a good job at surrounding the zone here and playing together to collapse on the zone as they are continuing to hold control of it.
Look at this, already pre-firing there. They've done a great job of identifying where this attack is coming from. Ice going to wait this one out until the last second to toss that. Still plenty of HP on that. And now Goss has got to be careful here, kind of getting swatted away by a couple different hitboxes. And yeah, now Ice rotating back over. Bran on this side. It is all Milky Way still throughout all of this on splat zones. Rissa, I just don't know what the recipe is to beat this squad. They rotate around, they pre-fire in the right areas, they position properly, and they're 30 ticks away from stealing this one.
They really are. You can see they're just continuing to hold the zone and just play it so nicely. It looks like finally Special Grade able to use the specials that they did have there, get into the zone, and finally actually take down 2 members as well of Milky Way. So this is the opening that they've been waiting for. It took a while there though at the beginning with Milky Way getting their score all the way down to 22. Special Grade finally figured out what they needed to do to get back in.
Jared over here on the side, surprise, surprise, and he jumps back in with a crab tank, but okay, not taken down. Okay, thank goodness. I was like, Jared, you cannot get away with that jump. I refuse to believe it. It is tacticalered up, so they'll have the crab tank, and they also have a booyah bomb, so they should have the resources to try and at least neutralize this zone. But they're going to have to jump over here and pivot on the other side. Jared's going to push them away. Is there any follow-up on the zone? It appears that right now there's enough specials coming out here from Special Grade. Will they take it? They do, just in time. A couple of seconds and a hefty penalty applied. So just enough time, just enough resources from Milky Way. But they've got to be careful, Rissa. They're 3 down, and even though they took that zone, you get the sense the pace of the game is starting to slip.
It really is. Right now, Special Grade, they're finally starting to get the momentum that they have been wanting. And now they're the team that's doing good at watching all the different angles. They're making sure that they're trying to preemptively take spaces and poke at spaces that they know that Milky Way is going to be at. There goes that tri-strike as well in front of the zone to push back Milky Way as they're coming in. So 45 penalty points remaining for Special Grade to get in the grasp of the lead. They just have to keep holding on and playing defensively, but Milky Way, they do have a lot of time here to still get into the zone as we're seeing Jared take down 2 members of Special Grade.
I thought Jared actually had a chance to take out Gray there too, and that would be an unbelievable jump in. So again, you talk about making something out of nothing. Jared wins a fight and then jumps in to kind of scramble up where the members of Special Grade are going to have to move and fight it out. It was just enough, but again, in the end of it, this is not Soldier's spawn right now. This is a full-on flank and a full-on teal stage as well. Poor Ice has had a really rough go of it this game. I think that because of the drop-down areas and all these spots these AoE weapons are coming through, there aren't really a lot of perches for that pro to make an impact. Now fires back there, is able to take out Gray. That may be enough. Now firing as well at this pencil player as the rest of the team moves forward. And after, again, what I think had been a pretty rough game thus far, Ice may have made the play that opened this back up, and Milky Way should have an opportunity to get some points on the board.
Milky Way holding the zone now and making sure that they're getting through their penalty points. I think it's good too. You highlighted that pro, you know, Ice hasn't quite been able to get in positions to be able to use it. The way that it shoots and the way that it does use the main weapon of that, it's kind of awkward on all the levels of this stage. But as I'm talking about that, no more penalty points for Milky Way. They are counting down right now, and Special Grade is doing everything they possibly can to come into the zone. Finally, they do just that. They knew they needed to scramble and at least get the zone, and in the midst of doing that as well, they took down 3 members of Milky Way. So Milky Way now, it does have the lead, but they just have to figure out in the last 30 seconds here how they want to get back into the zone and make sure that they are on control.
They better get some specials up here in a hurry. Goss there used the triple Zuka, excuse me. So Jared should be able to use this crab without a whole lot of threat. They take one down. They're firing forward. They've got a Booyah Bomb as well, but it's got to land and they got to get this flip now. Okay, they do. Well, the members of Special Grade are respawning. Now it's all kinds of pandemonium. Everybody jump to the left and right sides. Now Soldier sharking around here, now firing at ice. Here we go. Just 10 seconds left. The triple ink strike. Will this be enough to flip it back the other way? A Booyah Bomb should certainly make it so. And with a couple members down, Rissa, we're in a healthy overtime.
We are. There goes that cooler as well from Futa, so that way headed into overtime with low penalty points as well. Everyone is coolered up, and even if they do go down, they're going to be able to jump right back into the action. They are making sure on Special Grade that they are guarding the zone. Got to make sure you paint over this Booyah Bomb. No more penalty points left, and in just the nick of time there, as Milky Way was coming back in, Special Grade able to stay in control of the zone and take that in overtime.
Oh my goodness, these teams are going to put us to bed early, Rissa. Like, this is the pace that they're playing at. This is unreal. And there was, again, earlier in one of the previous games these two teams played, I believe it was the Umami game, I made the point of like, hey, if you can get the opposing Booyah Bomb user to jump even to a teammate safely, that small, like, second that you're buying and those couple of ticks can be just enough. And we saw it there at the end as well. That reposition meant that Booyah Bomb, the first Booyah Bomb that got thrown, didn't have any immediate follow-up after it. So just enough to find a way through. I will say that Special Grade, I think, got very, very fortunate with that particular stage for the Splat Zones game. I think that played exactly into what they did, but that's the first, you're talking about streaks, that's the first Splat Zones game that we've seen Milky Way lose. I mean, maybe they lost one in their first set, but they had looked dominant on that mode today, and now, finally, I think Special Grade has found, you made the joke they got to warm up a little bit. Well, I think they're hot now. I think they're hot.
Yeah, I do too. I think they definitely used that first grand final set to warm up, not only warm up, you know, their hands for their mechanics, but also figure out how Milky Way is playing and figure out how they want to approach that. Something I'm really interested in thinking about. You talked about it at the beginning of that game, but Goss switching over to the splatter shot instead of the crab, where you think typically a crab would be good on a map like that we just watched. But there has to be something that they're figuring out that worked well with that against Milky Way in particular. So interesting to look at.
It is, and I'm kind of noodling on it myself here. I guess we'll see if this next particular match or this next particular game follows through with it. If Goss sticks with it, here's one of my theories. I think that they looked and said, all right, Jared's crabs are killing us here. Well, okay, we'll just Zuka the Crab. That's all we've got to do. And I know Zuka the E-Leader was the name of the game back in the Splatoon World Series. Now, if you know that the crab is really breaking things down for you, or maybe you feel that your own crab tanks just aren't getting the same amount of value, just Zuka. I mean, worst case scenario, you are in and out of that special in just a few seconds. You fired it where a few of your opponents are, and now you're right back with a pretty serviceable turfing main weapon and, of course, a great sub weapon. So we'll just have to see if that's the choice.
Yeah, that's a good point to bring up. We'll definitely see headed into the next game if that continues on, and will be an interesting talking point for us to look at as well in the future. And we have some replays going on here, and this match. I mean, even as I'm watching this overtime, it was so chaotic. It was so back and forth. It was so fast paced. Each team was playing this first game really, really well in this bracket reset.
What a scramble. So that's that first Booyah Bomb that I talked about. I guess Jared had already gone down there early on in the fight. And yeah, just that slight reposition. I mean, they almost had enough to take that. And yeah, okay, I figured this was coming. It's Clan Blitz Museum d'Alfonsino, where Milky Way looked so strong in the previous set. And hey, they can still go back to Splat Zones later on, but if you've got a stage and mode combination that you feel nobody can beat you at, and frankly, they deserve to feel that way. No one has been able to beat them on this. Just go back to it and we'll worry about game 3 when we get there.
Yeah, right. Especially it's like, okay, even though we just played this team on this map and mode, Milky Way, they are so confident in it that they don't even need to think about that. They're like, okay, even though you know how we play on this, we are so comfortable on it that we're just not even going to hesitate. We're just going to go right back.
Well, yeah, right back. They're not even waiting that long. So let's see, everybody. Keep an eye out on what Goss is playing. You're about to find out. Yeah, it's Splattershot. I figured. All right, this is the choice. I don't think that Goss was a believer either on that Forge, or sorry, in the Frozen in the last time it came up here. We talked about those missiles maybe not getting the same amount of value here. So, hey, listen, that shot has been playing hot right now, and Goss certainly a great pilot of it. I hope that that stays out the entire rest of this set.
Yeah, I totally see why you would want to stick to that. Like you said, able to take down the crab with that Zuka from a safe distance. Also able maybe even to poke at Q on that pencil from a more safer distance. So I can totally see how that would come into play here. So as this game starts, both teams are going into mid, poking at each other, seeing who can get those first picks. And both teams do have members go down. And I know I'm like trying to, okay, I was looking at it. There's jump backs happening everywhere. What's happening? No, special grade here. It looks like they're initially doing a great job here at taking mid, and Gray here pushing forward, doing a very aggressive booyah bomb too. Does get called out though in the midst of that.
Yeah, Gray was kind of just feasting over there. Every time someone got anywhere close to the drop, yeah, just go ahead and use it. I'm an S-Blast, deal with it. And I wondered if there was going to be any follow-up there, but I guess he'd kind of maybe been separated from the rest of the team. So there you go. All right, now that's a Zuka to be proud of there. And hey, you know, one more thing Zuka can do, if you know that someone's jumping to somebody else, just fire in that general direction and you may catch him on the land. That's a big 2-down situation that's going to open them up. Now Bran goes down without taking anybody, and suddenly these trades that Milky Way was getting in that first set, Special Grade Risk is starting to get them a little cleanly.
Yeah, they are. They're doing a really good job at playing together and getting those trades, getting those picks from Milky Way. Milky Way here now, the team that is pushed back. Now Bran goes down too from Milky Way, so that is a really good opening point for Special Grade to be able to push in. There goes that Zuka from Goss that is able to get a pick onto ice, and Goss stays alive through that. What was that, a booyah bomb or a strike? Either way, stays alive through that and is able to help their teammate open up the basket, and they're continuing to count down clams here and get their score even higher.
Now that jump out means Gray is going to be safe, very close to another Booyah Bomb as well in case things get out of hand. But now he's also going to be able to reposition and attack Jared. Now, I don't even know where Jared's going to get away. Okay, barely got away that time, and not a lot of damage for a long time there. But Special Grade has been so sharp in this game. And again, I know we keep going back to the same point here, but it really feels like Goss's switch has been opening up. That's another crab tank taken down. I know Goss went down really quickly as a result of that, but you, again, get the idea of the situations that they forced. Now they've got to play some defense.
They're playing defense right now. Ice, they're able to grab that clam to open up, to score in more points for Milky Way. And finally, Special Grade does put a stop to the push that Milky Way had there. So Milky Way not quite to the lead yet, but it is close. It is in their grasp, and 2 minutes do remain of this match. So anything can happen with that as the scores are both very close.
Yeah, not to hammer the old mathematics point home, but anytime there's a game where 2 power clams getting in will swing the lead, everything changes just a little bit. Now, we got plenty of time left. The teams aren't thinking of that yet. They're still going to fight it out as Soldier's like, yeah, you better jump out from that position. But now they're moving air at Q, and I was going to say Q was pushed maybe a little far up there for the position Soldier was at, and now Soldier opening up the game there to go down here. Futa has an opportunity there. Will they run it forward? Will they wait for the rest of the team? Goss now firing forward, tries to get one, almost hits. We'll call it an assist. That's 2 power clams, and they might score both. 3!
Oh my gosh, they are able to open the basket, and they are not able to get in those additional clams. Unfortunately, it actually looked like perfect for them to go in and open up not only open up the basket, but score in those additional clams. I didn't see exactly from Milky Way, though, what stopped that, because that looked like a really good opening.
I mean, we get the bird's eye view. We get to see all the names on the screen. They do not, but this is still a good position for Special Grade. They're still putting pressure on the opponent's spinner. That's what you've got to do. But with Gray going down, okay, are you going to pull back at all? No, it looks like Soldier's still going to fight it out right here, trusting Goss and Futa to hold on to the center. That's again firing at the crab tank, and that crab tank's going to go and really accomplish almost nothing there. So every time that crab tank has come out, that's been done. Gray sharking now on the right side. Soldier coming in from the left. Now Ice is moving forward here. Oh, did they get the jump off in time, and do they have enough people there? I see a whole lot of people jumping in. Will this score all of them? The answer is no. They only got one. Rissa, that's not enough. The other one dangling lifelessly right in front.
Oh my gosh, I saw that vision too, able to go and get the jumps and then also Booyah Bomb at the jumps to stop anyone trying to stop them, or trying to stop anyone from rushing them if they got those clams in, but they weren't able to do so, and I don't know if they have, no, they don't have a power clam to cause overtime, so Special Grade actually beating Milky Way at their own game on their counter pick here in game 2 and taking game 2 versus Milky Way for the bracket reset.
My goodness. And Ice even got the Booyah Bomb off. They got the jumps in. Again, man, you talk about, boy, I can't wait to see the battle replay code for that. I don't know if like a perfectly timed bomb, if there was another special, it all happened so quickly, but if both of those had gone in, Milky Way would have been in the lead. Now, I will note, they would have gone 3 down, and Futa had been holding on to that power clam for like a minute and a half, maybe even longer than that. So certainly enough resources there and not a lot of points that would have needed to be had for Special Grade to then steal that lead back in the overtime. But there you go, Rissa. We said this is the counter pick that always works for you. When that counter pick doesn't work, I got nothing. I got nothing left.
I know, it's like, it's one of those things you counterpick it and you're confident on it and you're like, guys, we got this. We always got it on this map and mode, and then when the other team beats you on that, it's like, okay, what do we do? How do we counterpick this? Do we want to go to picking another map and mode that we're comfortable on, or maybe do something a little bit different now that this other team has figured out our games and what we're doing and how to strategize around us?
There you go, a replay right there. I'll be honest, folks, even watching the replay a second time, I didn't get a whole lot out of it to see exactly what happened. I'll need to hit the slow-mo at some point, but absolutely there. The crazy play by Goss, who almost got another player, by the way, with that. If Soulja hadn't taken that player out, Goss's crazy second shot, or I guess third shot, of the Trizuka would have done the job, but that's been the difference this set, Rissa, and you never want to boil it down to one player making one change, but we did say earlier, hey, if you feel that the opponent's crab tank is making life difficult for you, just do something about the crab tank. And the rest of the set will be what it'll be, but at least you'll have an answer for that specific spot. It also has sort of been doing a great job of helping out with Ice whenever there's a Booyah Bomb, because, I mean, that's been a relationship that the Trizuka's been winning against the Booyah Bomb since the very beginning. So that small change, and Goss being so willing and diligent to always have a Trizuka for the right time, listen, the proof's in the 2-0 right now.
Totally. I totally agree. Like, being able to Zuka whenever Jared does and have that at the ready, you know, it's like, okay, I could make the split decision to Zuka before Jared has that crab ready, but, you know, maybe I don't even get any value off of it. I mean, you know, is it even worth it? Or should I just wait till Jared has that crab? And you doing that completely disrupts exactly any momentum that Milky Way would try and get off of that crab.
So we do have a slow-mo is what I'm being told here. So here we go. Thank you, production. We get it here. So Ice goes in, actually misses the first jump there. Maybe that was enough time to let everybody else jump in. But here you go. There's the jumps. Coming in, everybody's rotated around. The Booyah Bomb lands. I guess it lands a little too late. Maybe that's what it is. Man, you talk about razor thin margins. They also had a third one. I didn't even realize there in the back that they had a third clam that could have maybe jumped in at that point too. So, man, Milky Way, again, as they are wont to do, playing the time and the mode exactly right. And that time it just didn't come through. And now they're, well, okay, Clam Blitz didn't work. We don't want to go back to zones yet. Tower control, Hagglefish, and we ain't waiting, folks. Could be the final game here of Super Jump 7.
Yeah, so remember, this is a bracket reset for those at home watching. If Special Grade is able to win this, we will end up completely... This will be the tournament. Special Grade will have won, but if Milky Way is able to win this Game 3, they're able to go into Game 4 and still stay in this to potentially get to a Game 5.
Well, all right. You know, wouldn't be a game if we did have to do one reset. We'll see what that was. I will note that, again, Goss still sticking with the splatter shot, so... let's talk about that point a little bit more, because I do think it's interesting in our game of Splatoon, Rissa, where so many specials have such strong, like, advantaged positions where there are spots where you're like, yeah, like Inkvac, like when one thing is here and I'm pushing that Rainmaker forward, Inkvac is exactly what I want. or,
Hmm.
you know, missiles or booyah bomb at the tower, right? There are so many specials that are so strong in specific situations. To have one special that just is only there to make life difficult for the opponent's specials, I love it. And Splashdown sort of did a bit of that in late Splatoon 2. Now, it was
Hmm.
also Splashdown, and eventually people got good enough that that wasn't really a problem. But whenever you have a special that can just counter an opponent's special and that's all you need it to do, it is so, so nice. And as you were talking about it, I'm like, yeah, you know, when can people not jump out? When they're in Crab Tank and when they're in Booyah Bomb. So, if
Hmm.
there's ever a time to have one target that you can just fire at that can't really move or do anything about it, what better to have than a Trizuka? I've loved this pivot, and it's just that one shift in the balance of this set that has changed it so drastically.
Yeah, it's interesting at this higher level of Splatoon. Just that little tiny tweak is exactly what is switching it around for special grade here. Great point to bring up, too. I mean, now it feels like it's a lot more almost like even playing field. Both teams are very good mechanically, they have the amazing game sense. This is high level Splatoon, but just having that one counter weapon to counter that one thing that's been a nuisance to your team has made such a big difference for special grade.
And the margins get so slim too. We talked about how difficult it was for Ice to get things rolling on Mekomart. That's no fault of Ice. That's just, man, this is Mekomart against two of the best AoE players in the world, and I'm playing a pro. Like, you know, that it
Yeah.
just gets difficult at times. I mean, if that first game is on Barnacle and Dime, who knows how differently this set looks? But instead, now you've got beat on your counter pick because of one split second play that just you did everything right and the opponent just had the right answer for that time. I mean, this is such a close 2-0, which feels weird to say, but one game won in overtime, one game stopped right before overtime. It's just the small changes that we talk about here. And now I'll be interested in seeing, maybe that wasn't the counter pick from Milky Way. Maybe that was put in wrong and that's why we have this little reset. But whatever it is, still plenty of action, even if it's only one game. I hope that this has shown you that even one game of action in Splatoon feels like it lasts 10 minutes, because I'm going to need a lozenge after this one.
I know, right?
We
It's just oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think it's a technical issue from the player's side. So,
Yeah.
um, all right. All right. We'll, we'll keep going here as long as we can, Rissa.
We got this. We're
We
in the
got this.
final stretch.
Mm.
Yeah,
Let's
this
Do we have the same chair? Is that what's going on here? Is that?
yes, we do.
Okay. Okay. There you go.
Yeah, you gotta rep it.
It's a nice
I
chair.
know. I know with when there's a green screen behind it, we have to, like yours had to put the little a jacket over it because the
Yeah.
green screen. But yeah, it is a nice chair.
It is. It's my big man costume is what this is.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. It's the big man costume that sits back there. He's just wrapping me in a nice warm hug the entire time that I'm commentating. That's how I like to see it.
I like that. That's nice and cozy. It's nice being cozy when you're commentating. It makes it much more, I don't know. I don't know. I get it. I usually have a blanket on my lap just because it makes me feel like so nice and cozy.
Yeah, if everything up here is going 1,000 miles per hour, I need
Yeah.
everything else to feel warm, to feel calm, to feel relaxed. You know, maybe this little stoppage here is a good thing for Milky Way, you know, to kind of talk about the gamesmanship of it here. If you've just lost 2 games like that, sometimes it's nice for there to be another like little artificial little break in the game where you can just like, okay, guys, like we should have won both those games, could have won both of those games. Let's not make this out to something it shouldn't be. If this was a scrim and we were just scrimming for 2 hours, we wouldn't have even thought about those 2 games. We're just like, yeah, whatever, we lost.
Hmm.
That's the mentality you got to have. And believe me, these players scrim a lot. So they got to be
Hmm.
comfortable with that sort of mindset.
Yeah, if anyone is going to be able to come back and, not have their mental shot down after losing the first 2 games, it's definitely someone like Milky Way. That is always one of the things that separates high-level Splatoon from mid and lower-level Splatoon, is just having the mental ability to come back from, like, losing the first 2 games of a best of 5 set like this, or in the middle of a game being able to hold out till the end and flip the lead just like that. That is high level Splatoon, and we are back in the action for game 3. All right, 9, here we go.
We go. No changes on either side. And, when we saw Milky Way play this earlier, it was really, I would say, Jared getting into the position with the crab from the small openings, right? We all know when you take the opponents down and maybe you've got them 2 or 3 down, get up their ramp, get on their tent. We all understand what that looks like when it happens in real time. But to get up there as quickly as Jared does, and he always seems to have a crab when he does it, is a huge, huge deal. Now, again, we've talked about it. Some specials could make that difficult, but we at least know the game plan and the identity of the team. And from the other side for Special Grade, you're saying if we get both our frontliners up there, it doesn't matter what you have. It's game over if Soldier and Gray get in your base.
Both teams here initially poking at each other around the tower, trying to get that upper hand initially. It looks like Special Grade is going to be the team that is able to finally get onto the tower. I noticed too, Soldier at the beginning of this was kind of just getting on the tower to bait it almost, so that way Milky Way would go forward a little bit, and just that little bit of baiting in those few seconds that had created that opening for Special Grade to now get on the tower and be able to finally get through that first checkpoint as well.
Got through it awfully quick, and yeah, Gray's going to continue the push here. Almost took out Ice there. That was almost a direct that would have completely broken this game open. Instead, there's at least some chance of the defense there. Soldier going to be waiting around. That first slash doesn't find, nor does the second, and that might be enough. They actually get to... Wait, no, somebody else assisted there? They're both down. Of course, it's Gray moving over. Great showing here. They're continuing to put the pressure on. So close to winning this tournament.
Yeah, Special Grade here. The tower is back in mid, but they are around the tower, and this is looking exactly like the beginning of the match, where both teams were just staying on their side of the tower, throwing bombs at each other, trying to get their specials ready. That way they could get the upper hand. Both teams do have a member go down, and we're seeing Jared get on the tower, actually in Crab too, but that gets called out. Goss here uses that Zuka at the exact same time. I have a feeling that was to counter the Crab as well. So no team or the other has really gotten a big upper hand here initially, but they're both just really waiting for a big opening, waiting for 1 or 2 members to go down from the other team, so that that way they can get a big push in.
And you're really hoping that you win sort of an off-balance fight. Like right there, they sent 2 people down to go after Soldier. If Soldier takes 1 or 2 of those players down, then suddenly that's the opportunity for Special Grade to move forward. Instead, goes down there, so there's not really a huge opportunity for either team. Jared's still just waiting, and it's Goss just watching this side, not even giving the opportunity for it to work forward. I love the way that he's just pivoting around, knowing that he'll be able to then move and attack anybody here. Now this poor Crab Tank doesn't have a whole lot that can get done, but it will open the door for Ice to move forward. Ice needs to find someone, but I think hit the sprinkler 3 or 4 times. That's going to move everybody out, and again, 2 minutes left in this game. Rissa, Milky Way hasn't touched the tower in a hot minute.
They haven't even been able to, they've gotten right behind it, but they haven't even been safely get on the tower to even try and think about pushing it again a little bit more. With 2 members going down now from Special Grade, this could be the opening that Milky Way was waiting for. We're seeing Q riding the tower, headed to that first checkpoint. Jared here tries to come over onto this tarp and does get called out at that. So Q is still riding the tower, however, hasn't quite been challenged yet. Jared is there on the tower as well to help get through that. And now with Jared on this Crab as well, they are actually, yep, they do get the lead. And just like that, it has swapped, but it is still very close.
I love those triple ink strikes that Brand put out there. They didn't have really a target, but it just made sure nobody was going to get even close to Q. And at that point, as long as they had their Crab Tank ready, they were going to be able to steal the lead. Now, it's just patience on the defensive side. Don't overextend, but don't get passive either. Flank, make sure that Q always has a line to attack where the opponent is trying to come from here. Just a few seconds left here. I know 50 seems a lot, but it's going to go by awfully quick.
It really is going to. I mean, this game is so fast-paced. These teams play so fast, and in just the blink of an eye, this match is going to be over here as each team, is hanging out around the tower. We see Special Grade on the tower at that, and Milky Way is the team right now that needs to get onto the tower. They cannot approach it yet. You can see over on there on the left side of the map, they're trying to come around a left side flank, but it is being very closely watched by the members of Special Grade, and they are not going to let them get close to the tower.
Well, I mean, maybe they don't need to. Bran actually used the triple ink strike right there from that side, and you saw that Goss wasn't really comfortable approaching because they needed some pressure around the tower. All the while, Ice has been flanking. goes up against Gray here. They close it out quickly enough. A couple people are going to move over, and the bomb will do the job. And of all the weapons on the field to be the one sharking the tower, the Splatter Shot Pro being the one. Oh, jump out, take Gray out. If Gray hit that 90-degree shot there, that direct, that would have been on the highlight reels forever. Instead, Ice closes it out, 3 shots, all that's necessary, and then drops that suction bomb on as well, pivots around. But once that wonderful shark was executed, that was pretty much it. And Milky Way, still a fighting chance. It's not done yet.
Yeah, they're still in it. They are headed to game 4, so they have to win this game and the next one if they want to end up winning this completely. So they have to take this one step at a time. They won that game. They're still in this bracket reset. They got to win this next game too in order to get to that game 5. And I wanted to highlight too, you know, Milky Way in particular, that like Ice sharking there at the end, that was one of those things where I talked about where all the members of Milky Way, they can all play really aggressively or they can play really supportively. And Ice knew, okay, this is a very situational thing. I need to be the one sharking, playing aggressively here, jumping on the tower, and just that type of awareness from them allowed them to win that game.
It just reminds me of the old saying that I heard back in Splatoon 1, which was, hey, what should my weapon be doing? And the answer was winning the game. That's what your weapon needs to be doing. That's the goal of it all. Love it when you put it that simply. But now we can talk a little bit about the bracketology since we're still going on. It's worth noting now, the last time we saw a counterpick in the previous set, the first place that was a counterpick to for special grade, I should note, was they did take it to Umami Zones. They cannot go back to Zones now because it's the last mode that they won on. Tower Control would make sense. I could see why they would opt to go there, and it sure enough will be Tower Control on Inkblot Art Academy. But, you know, now suddenly things are starting to get a little... They're starting to get a little tricky in terms of what these counter picks could be. Obviously, if they win this one, they're fine. And, you know, Clam Blitz, of course, not in the cards for them either. We might see a Rainmaker game, but if this is the final spot, this is where Gray and the rest of the squad ended up beating Bet in their previous matchup that they had fought it out here. So if there was ever a time to do it, this would be the time. And here we go. Special grade, 1 game away from greatness.
All right, taking a look at these comps, as usual for both of these teams, they are sticking with the weapons that they have been playing throughout this tournament that we have been watching here. And of course, the one main notable switch up that we keep talking about is Goss switching over to that splatter shot instead of the splash. And that way he can counter the way that Milky Way plays. So initially here, a very explosive start coming out from Special Grade. They are not even hesitating. They rush forward. They got the tower. They're immediately pressuring Milky Way's plat, and you can see those tri-strikes coming out as well to just immediately pressure Milky Way and not let them even think about setting up.
Well, I mean, that's the pressure that you want here at the start. Now Gray, yeah, not even going to opt to chase on that. Has more important priorities like going and attacking and making sure the backliner for the opposing side gets taken down. That was a successful mission from Gray, which means that they should have a chance to attack here. That Booyah Bomb's going to create a little space. But as long as they keep rotating these attackers here, again, this double AoE comp should find a way to break through. Jared's going to crab tank. Is there a retaliatory special? I see Goss has it. Will they opt to wait this crab out and then fire it here? They've got options on options, and right now, it's all special grade.
It's so interesting. Jared has had to actually switch up the way that he has been crabbing, I think, in these last couple games. You can see Jared crabbing from a lot further back than he typically does, I think, because he knows that if he crabs forward and aggressively, he's going to get Zuka right away. So you can see he's also trying to pivot and trying to counter that Inkzuka that Goss has been using to counter Jared.
There you go. Again, a weird fight that Ice ends up winning in that position there. Nice jumping on the refire as well. So this is actually a pretty good spot. Well, no, a couple do get taken down every time now that it looks like they've got some sort of advantage going on the Milky Way side. It's just one player and Goss trades it out. One Trizuka shot for Q is, I think, a trade that you will take every time. It means that Soldier's going to be up here again, has the specials. So just this whole game, it's felt like, okay, when is Milky Way going to get their footing underneath them in the center of the stage? When is it happening? It hasn't happened yet. Now, finally, they do. Ice does go down, but finally the map is actually starting to look the right color. But as long as Gray keeps finding targets to dive after Orisa, I'm not sure where they're going to find that footing.
I know they're gonna, it's so difficult because if you're getting dived by that S blast from Gray. You know, 1 minute you're having to watch out from that, and then the next minute the remaining members of Special Grade are also poking at you or rushing you from different angles. So with the way that Special Grade has been playing off of Gray's S blast here, it's been working out really well for them in particular, and it seems like the strategy is slowly, as we've been watching all these games go on, work out very well for them. They have been having the upper hand throughout this entire match.
Well, and it's tower control, and you've got arguably the best S blast player out there, so you'd think surely at a certain point you're going to find a time to make that player shine. Finally, though, after all of this, it is the opportunity for Milky Way. They've been patient. They've diligently fought it out here, and now they should have the special advantage. Goss is gone, which means nothing's going to be able to take down this crab tank. They're going to push up and use that crab tank as support. Just a couple more ticks. They're going to rotate over and get off the tower just to fight it out. They'll lose the tower, but that's fine because all of that fighting they did paid big dividends. They will take the lead, Rissa, with just 90 seconds left.
Oh, that type of like way to adapt and recognize, okay, the lead is literally like 2 points off, but we just need to make sure we're creating space around the tower to make sure that this push continues past not only getting the lead, but even more past that. And we can see that here. The tower is continuing to count down points as Q is riding the tower. You can see Bran there trying to guard the tower as Q is on it. And just the way they set themselves up for a huge successful push like this is just awesome to watch.
Yep, I mean, listen, when your opponent is 3 down or 4 down, it doesn't matter where the objective is. Like, it's done at that point. You're going to get a chance to continue pushing. And like you said, that's the adaptation. That's in the moment, recognizing, hey, I'm on 2. Let's get them. If we take them out now, we get way more than just the lead. Now a couple members of Milky Way are going to go down, so Special Grade's going to make this interesting. They're coolered up. They've already got Soulja up there to fight it out and wins the fight with Bran. They force Q back. Soulja in a great position. Now gets some assistance, Rissa, and it's not over yet. There's still plenty of time and chances for Special Grade to move forward.
Yeah, they're on the tower. They have specials ready, like you mentioned, and they are, they know, okay, we're headed into the remaining 10 seconds of this. We need to head into overtime. We need to make sure we win this. They have to be so careful, though. Bran there was around the tower. Bran just jumps back a little bit to get that pick onto Soulja, and you can see, I think that's Goss there. Yeah, Goss riding the tower, trying to juggle it through all these specials coming at the tower, but not quite able to stay alive. However, there's only one member of Milky Way up. This is just so chaotic. And Futa here on the tower is riding it. This could switch 9. Oh my gosh.
Gray doing it again. Now gets back on the tower and loses it. Bran respawned in time. Oh my goodness. They kept that tower going through a triple ink strike and a booyah pump in overtime. They kept it going. Oh my goodness. They were so close. And Gray almost made the heroic play at the end. But there was just one more player that had cycled through the spawns. I believe it was Bran. So there you go. I mean, that's about as close as you're going to see that game go. And not a whole lot of teams that could have made it that close against Milky Way. But instead, Rissa, we get a Game 5 on our Grand Finals reset. This is the longest that you could ask the tournament to go for. And these players are still treating us to incredible plays, even at this stage.
I know. It's been great watching this, especially since we saw the first grand final set versus these two teams, and just seeing the way that Special Grade has slowly been adapting to the way that Milky Way plays and adapting to how they want to approach this. And it's just really cool getting to see this in the bracket reset, going all the way to a Game 5 and seeing these adaptations happen firsthand.
Well, now we'll get to rewatch this little scrum here at the end. Again, I do want to point out how crazy the play was just in overtime by itself. Didn't need anything else to make this look so wild. That would have been plenty. It's a fight. Futa moves all the way back over through, keeps it going there. Gray gets another player, and it looks like Bran swung all the way around to the left side. Just, Gray did literally everything that could be done, and actually got one shot onto Bran. If they'd gotten one more shot, it does look like Ice had respawned, so maybe it would have been enough. But Milky Way used every ounce of their defensive resources to close that out. And now, Rissa, we get into a really interesting piece where now the tower control has clearly shifted for Milky Way, okay? Do Special Grade take them back to tower control for a third consecutive game? I mean, surely you don't.
I know. That's what I was thinking too. Surely you don't take Milky Way back to tower control. They've been doing a great job on it 2 games in a row, so you don't want to give them that extra space in this game 5 to do good on tower control again. They clearly have their game plan at the ready for how they want to play tower control. So oh, this is it's very interesting. It's always fun when you are the team that in that game 5, you get to be the one that counter picks because you just have that little bit of an upper hand. It's something that you got to strategize and pick with your team instead of the other team doing that against you.
Well, and the other interesting thing to think about now is for special grade, you've counterpicked tower control against them. You've counterpicked splat zones against them. Do you go... I mean, where do you... You can't go back to Clan Blitz right now, right? Counterpick rules say you can't do that. So you can't go there. You've avoided counterpicking Rainmaker this whole time. So I don't know if you do it now. So your other options are tower control that you just lost 2 games on, or splat zones where, again, you feel like you got a good win on Mako Mart, but the other stages that you have played zones on against them haven't gone as well. So it's never a disadvantage to be, 1 game away from winning the tournament, but this is a tricky spot for them to be. There aren't a whole lot of great choices for them to make.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point to bring up. I mean, it's like, at this high level too, like if you go back to zones, we've talked about it and everyone online knows it. We all know it, that everyone, Splat Zones is like the default competitive mode. So anyone knows how to play it, everyone is comfortable on it, and everyone has scrimmed it a lot. Everyone gets it, especially at this high of a level. They do scrims where it's just zones only scrims, and they are all so comfortable on it. So yeah, like, do you go to that you're comfortable on and the other team will be too, or do you go over to Rainmaker?
All right, well, here we go. Oh my God!
What?
Run it back, baby! Run it back! Oh. Yeah,
What?
I mean, this isn't against any rules. You can do it. Oh, Rista, this is my own personal purgatory at this point. I have thought I was coming up from Inferno, but did not reach Paradiso. 2 Tower Control Inkblot Art Academies in set 2 of Grand Finals.
Oh my gosh. I don't think I've ever seen this.
No, I've seen it all now. I have seen
literally.
it all.
Oh my gosh. Okay, racking up and thinking about this though, I get it because they did a good job. It was just that one final push from Milky Way, but man, are they going to be able to run it back after that last game? I don't know.
You feel like you were that close to winning it, so
yeah,
shoot, why not? I'm sorry. It's, we've now flipped it over. Everyone jokes about Tower Control Inkblot being game 2. No, now it's 2 games is what this is. But folks, win or lose, this is it. The final game of SuperJump 7. Hang with us just a little bit longer. Tower Control, Inkblot Art Academy. You already know there's no changes from either of these teams from the comp side. So just enjoy some good Splatoon.
Yeah, we're just running it back right away. Everyone is readied up, playing the same weapons. We're back on this map and mode and looking at this initially. So special grade, they are the ones who counterpicked this again to play 2 games in a row. So looking at the way they are starting this and approaching it, I think is really interesting. You can see they all tried to dive left aggressively, but they did get called out right away from Milky Way. Milky Way recognized that, stayed back, got those picks, and now Milky Way is on the tower immediately, though. There goes that Zuka from Goss countering Jared's Crab and puts a stop to that.
Yep, and a stop might be just enough because things were starting to get a little bit out of hand. Instead, now they're going to fight it out there, and now Goss going up and doing it with the main weapon. Just can't quite pin down Jared there on those dualies. Goss would have loved to take that out because the rest of the team was in a really rough position. Soldier going to do an admirable job of at least stalling that out with the triple ink strike to keep it back a little bit, but they already had a defensive resource in this first checkpoint, so instead maybe they could have held on to it a little longer. Now without a defensive resource, they're going to have to fight this out with main and sub.
Yeah, you can see that they are pushing forward here. Oh my gosh, Milky Way, they are starting super dominantly on this Goss there finally calls out Brand, 2 members down now on the side of Milky Way. So the tower, though, is getting juggled over here on Special Grade's spawn area, as we did see Ice pushed up there too to just try and hold as much space as they possibly could. But Special Grade, now they are pushing forward. They get that pick onto Q, but in the midst of all of this chaos, members are going down left and right from both sides of the map. So slowly, both teams are trying to get their members back into mid to make a game plan happen.
Yeah, find a game plan there when everybody's respawning. That is something these players are so good at. It just constantly boggles my mind every time how they can reform attacks there. I don't know if that was a bomb or what it was, but something took them down there. And now this checkpoint falls. I was going to say the fact that Milky Way had already gotten through both checkpoints means that the rest of this game should be, I won't say smooth, but at least you know where you have to defend and what resources you have. But if they lose their second checkpoint, all bets are off.
Yeah, that's always that point. I mean, we saw that in the last game. Once that second checkpoint goes through, it spirals so fast, and it looks like this is quite the setup here for Special Grade to potentially make that happen. They got to be very careful, though. Ice there around the flank, goes to the tower, at least stalls it out a little bit for the remaining members of Milky Way to come back from their spawn. But, you know, Special Grade is keeping the tower over here on this left side, and the more that they keep it over here, the more they're able to set themselves up around that in Milky Way spawn and slow them down.
See them being so patiently right now, desperately trying to make sure they have at least one defensive special that can put a stop to it. There goes one of them now. Really the only one they had at the time. Those triple ink strikes, I don't know if they found anybody, but at least it stalled long enough for Ice to respawn, which could be big. Now we have a cycling here of the specials. Now again, it's going to be the crab tank coming out. I don't think that Goss is anywhere near them right now and doesn't even have a Trizuka if they did. So making a lot of defense out of few resources. Great show there. But look at that. Now 3 of them go down. Special Grade doesn't even care who has specials or whatnot. Let's just fight it out with the main weapon.
Yeah, they were like, okay, let's just charge forward. We still feel comfortable here. We saw Gray's point of view there, chasing down that last remaining member from Milky Way, and now Soldier pushed up here in the area that Gray was in as well. So they are doing a great job at trying to clear space around the tower. However, with the way that Milky Way is coming back from spawn, Milky Way's putting a stop to that right away. So that's really their barrier. They can't get past that point. You know, the way that Milky Way is coming out of their spawn and just playing defense really nicely, they're having a difficult time getting past that.
And this is why having this second checkpoint is such a big deal, because every time that things have looked ugly, they've had a bomb. They've got 2 suction bombs, of course, that they can throw, and a splat bomb. They've got just enough on the special side that they can stall it out, and then you're just kind of pre-firing and banking on where the opponent is going to try to move forward here. You know what the game plan is. Now you've taken out Gray here, and Goss this time uses the Trizuka early. Maybe saw the crab tank, but didn't exactly know where it was. Jared could go huge right now to close this one out almost single-handedly. With just a few ticks left, Futsa's going to get one down, and at least they're going to have a chance to have their own plat and push back in. But Rissa, this could be it. Gray somehow fits the world. Where did the second one go down from? How are they still fighting? How did they find footing, and how do they have the tower?
I know this, with the way that Jared created an opening there, I surely thought Milky Way was going to be able to get into mid and get into the tower, but Special Grade right now is the team that is controlling the tower. They are stacking members on the tower to get through that second checkpoint as fast as they possibly can, but with Jared there, Jared gets called out by Gray, so they are doing everything they can here, and just like that, they're able to completely switch that around, take the lead in the last final seconds there. Oh my gosh, that was insane. What a comeback.
Jared was like a frame away from touching that tower. I don't know if that was a direct from Gray or what it was. Jared's Inkling could not have been more than a hair's length away from touching that tower and ending the, yeah, give me the slow-mo and then slow it down even more. I don't know what FPS this footage is. I need it to be 240. I need to see every detail of that because, Rissa, I'm glad you had it there because I would have gotten marble mouth halfway through it. I would not have known how to describe that. Again, I don't know how Gray got into that position underneath the plat to even fight. I guess Soldier had swung around left there. That drop, I thought it was it. They were going to have to fight through at least 2 or 3 specials to deal with that. And you know, there's something to be said for the fact that Special Grade spent really the last, what, 3 minutes of that game in an extended push. Because after that first part of the game, Milky Way never had the opportunity to extend their lead. And, you know, the old saying, you've got to continue putting game-winning pressure on your opponent. Eventually there's enough to crack. And here we go. Oh my God, this is excellent. Look at where Gray is. Look at where Jared is.
Oh my gosh. Yo, this is a slow-mo. I love
Look
this.
at that. He's even mid-roll.
And even getting poked behind by a Q. Oh. Yeah, Gray able to do that and still getting poked by Q also. That was crazy.
This is exactly how Gray sees the game, by the way. You want to know how Gray gets all these crazy shots? It's because this is actually Gray's POV that we're untangling for you in real time. And then, was Gray also the person who... No, Soldier got to the tower first. But, listen, you talk about the smallest possible margin. Right there. If Gray indirects, that's it. They lose. Like, Gray has to hit that direct, almost max range, and he has to hit it exactly when he does. A frame earlier? I mean, this is what the game looks like at the top level, folks. These are the margins these teams play at. Like, are you not entertained?